Hello everyone, it's Melissa. Welcome back. Today I am sharing another project, and this is a 12 by 12 layout documenting the fun tradition we have in our house where I have my kids wear these fun Santa hats. And I'll talk about more about that later. I'm starting off by pulling from my product jar, and you can see there so far I have punches pulled, sequins, stickers, tags, roller stamp, my cameo, and doilies will be last, and the roller stamps don't make it. Today's layout is inspired by a Missy Whidden layout I found on Pinterest, and I just love it. Love the title, more importantly, and where she placed her photos. So I'm starting off with the title that I cut with my cameo and cutting down my 2x3 size photos. There's 3 of them there. I'm also going to be using one of my favorite paper pads, and it's an oldie that I keep pulling from, and it's from Pink Paisley, and I just got it from Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby. And so you see there I have the word moments cut, and I am going to back it up on a tone on tone, this pattern paper here, which is kind of like a green sage type color. And the first thing I'm doing is pulling from a paper tray ink. It's a really old stamp set. It was gifted to me by a girlfriend, and I'm going to use the die Mary, and I actually end up cutting that 3 times to add some dimension, and the final color is with a gold POW glitter paper. And I even shadowed it with like a darker gray to kind of make it pop a little bit more off the page. So right here, I'm just deciding if I like the Mary die cut or some chipboard that I have from Recollections there in my stash. And I do in fact like the Mary, so that'll show up on the layout. Right here I've got some acrylic paint, just some white from my stash, adding water with just a regular old paintbrush, and I'm gonna do the packaging technique on the background just to lighten it up. I was inspired by Missy's layout where she did this sort of little bit of mixed media on the background, and really I only did it because I just thought it was fun and for something different, and I hadn't done mixed media in a little while, so I thought I was in the mood to get dirty and messy. And so yeah, I'm just using the packaging technique, adding some paint onto a separate piece and some water and doing some droplets and just being messy. And then, I will in fact use the paper towel to dab up the extra bits, and I'll let it dry. And at the end, I will add, before I start my layout, at the end, once the paint is dry, I'll add some Distress spray from Tim Holtz. And this is a tarnished brass that I end up using, which is a very close duplicate to the Heidi Swapp Gold Color Shine. So I do have both of those in my stash. I just happened to pull the Tim Holtz Gold. Both are beautiful. And so that's about finished. I will end up having to touch up some of the elements later, but here I'm showing you my droplets of gold, and my cardstock is dry now. There was a little bit of warping, but not much. So I'm going to do the placement just like I showed you in Missy's layout, where she in fact only used 2 photos. I'm using 3, no big deal. But I do like the tone on tone here, so I am going to glue just to the back of the word moments. I'll cut off the excess. And I really like that. I like how subtle that is, and I like how the white paint is lightening up the feel of that green. I actually am going to add the insides to the O and the E here now, and then I'll go ahead and have to use my paint to actually add white to that too, because I forgot, and I kind of just going to re-wet my packaging with some water and my paintbrush and do it that way. So sorry about my voice, you guys. I have a cold at the moment, so I sound a little raspy, but I'm plugging along here. The last video I shared was for my December daily project lifestyle, and I'm just trying to plow through my Christmas projects because I do want to get my Christmas stuff cleaned up. So in fact, after this layout, I will have 2 more Christmas layouts to do, and then New Year's Eve, and then I'll be able to clean up my Christmas and get it put away. I don't keep it out with my regular supplies. I do put it in my closet, and I store it in iris containers. And so I'm looking forward to that, and I have set myself a goal for the end of January, so let's hope that I can make that happen. So you'll see here I'm just de-stressing these 2 little elements here, and I'll let them dry and then cut away the background green paper from the back. Like I mentioned before, these Santa hats, every year I do this with my kids, and I just love it. I have pictures of them on the tree, dated, and all over the house. Different, just watching them grow under these hats. I've done it every year since they were babies, since they were born. Let's just say that, and I just love it. It's one of my favorite things. And so you see here, I pulled a striped dimensional. Has a gold tone-on-tone color scheme to it, and it's just from that pink paisley pack again, but I love it so much I cut out the inside as to not be wasteful, and I'm going to put it on just a scrap piece of white cardstock. So here I have pulled a gold doily. I jumped ahead a little bit, but I pulled a gold doily from my stash. I've also got some scraps of paper there, a Project Life card, I want to say, maybe element, which is that red. You just saw me pull from my mind's eye this piece of cardboard element, swirly, flourish thing that I've had in my stash. Oh gosh, forever. Let's just say that. I'm just cutting off the little nibs, cardboard nibs, and I'm going to end up placing that in 2 spots, one on the top and one on the bottom behind the photos. This is a Fancy Pants, just embellishment pack, and I do like the shipping tag and the color, but I'm not a fan of the white edges, so I am going to trim that off. And this will be my tag element that I pulled from my jar. So far I have the tags, the doilies, I've used the cameo, and I'll pull stickers and punches here before long. And like I mentioned, I used all the elements from my product jar. Sorry, I can't talk, except for roller stamps. So, and I even have some frames there in the bottom. I was able to use 2 of them, which, yep, love it. So you can see some of my title there. It says Merry Merry, and so the title is essentially going to be Merry Merry Moments, but I do end up adding a sticker from Tim Holtz which says 'Tis the season to be jolly, and that's kind of going to be a quasi subtitle. They're kind of going to work together in the title. So you can see here I'm just adhering my pictures to some scraps of paper and just arranging them. Just, you know, wonky per my usual. You guys know how I like my words straight, but I don't overly like my photos straight. I don't know, it gives a little bit more, I don't want to say wonky, but just whimsical, more playful of a feel. So yeah, I'm, you know, trying to decide where I want that piece of flourish on the bottom, and just fidgeting around, you guys. This is the way I roll all the time. And so I'm going to start gluing stuff down here because constantly moving around drives me absolutely bonkers. So I will start to get this glued down. I do already have the title glued down, so that's a huge step for me. And yeah, just getting that tag tucked in there. I will later add a eyelet from my stash, a silver eyelet, and thread some gold and white baker's twine through the tag as well. I'm splitting up the doily, sorry about that. I'm splitting up the doily to use some at the top and some at the bottom. I don't know about you, but gold doilies are a hot commodity in my scrap room. And so, yeah, not going to want to waste a single bit of that. The same stands true for that diagonal gold tone-on-tone paper in the background there. That, I mean, I just love it. So I hadn't planned on backing up this sage paper, but I decided, you know what, I think it looks cute with a frame, so I went with it. As you can see, and you'll see as the video progresses, this layout came together super quickly. Having the title as such a big element on the page, it doesn't leave you much room for embellishments and things, but it makes the layout come together super quick. And yeah, that's just the Billabong font, which was a free font that you can get off the internet and import it into your silhouette. So that is just the Billabong font from, my cameo that I cut in the word moments. And right now I'm gluing. What's important thing to know is that I know lots of people mention it, but when you're using gesso or any type of mixed media on your paper or your projects, you always want to use a good, strong adhesive, because stuff just doesn't want to stick. Like even adding elements that already have sticky back, add some glue, hot glue, whatever you use as your strong adhesive, feel free to add it, because stuff just, it's not going to make hold on to the distance for, your scrapbooks. You want them to last a long time, if not forever. And so, yeah, take 2 seconds to add a strong adhesive to those elements that you're putting onto the mixed media, just for an added little measure. So I am going to start gluing these down. I'm just, fidgeting with this flourish. I like how it's not as boxy. You know how I like, square corners and things, and some of my layouts look boxy, but I've mentioned this in the past. I like it, and, I'm not doing anything out of my norm, and it's just, my mojo is flowing, so I have no intentions of stopping this. What I do like with this layout is the roundness from the circle doily and the flourish, breaks that up a little bit, makes it not such a hard edge. And, again, like I said before, just gives the wonky photos themselves not being straight, gives it some movement, and so does the bits of rounded edges. So I am playing with some frames. Those are from Simple Stories, and one says Instant Magic, and the other one just has a houndstooth red and white on it. You can see here I have the Tim Holtz 'Tis the Season to Be Jolly. That's just a sticker sheet called Holiday Talk, and I'm showing you there. It comes in 2 whites and 2 blacks, and I love it. It's something new, relatively new to my stash, like within the last year or so. I have some chipboard elements from Feed Your Craft that I won in a kit last year, just making my way through those. And those elements that I have on there say Season of Joy, and then the top one's just a heart. I've used some punches to cut with gold cardstock some stars, and that is a star confetti border punch, and then a star punch from Stampin' Up. I also am showing you here some stamped elements. I always add stamped elements to my pages, and so for the one on the bottom that says Special Traditions, that's a stamp from Ellie's Studio. It's called Cheers. It's really old, but I in fact stamped the frame, the label frame, in an Always Artichoke from Stampin' Up, and then I embossed in a detailed gold. And then the other one is from My Favorite Things, and the stamp is called Jingle All the Way. It's an old one as well, but I used the stamp, the sentiment that says Santa has some favorites, and again I embossed that in gold. Now, to give my white cardstock, which is what I stamped those on, a little bit of a softer feel, more of a cream. I do have cream paper, but I ended up using antique linen to kind of bring back the white a little bit. So I do like that added bit, just so it's not so stark white in your face. I do have a lot of white on the page itself from the photos, from the hats. So, I mean, it could have worked out fine, but I wanted to tone it down a little bit. So I am, in fact, fidgeting with these frames. I don't know why. Originally, I was thinking about adding my journaling over here, because if you look at, which I'll have Missy's page posted on my Facebook page as well, which I'll link in the description box, as well as my Instagram. But her page, which I showed in the beginning of the video, had the journaling in this area by the frames, and I decided not to do that. So I'm just trying to figure out where I want to place these paper stars that I cut, and also keeping in mind that I want to add sequins. So yeah, here's the finished layout. I added the baker's twine, like I mentioned, to the tag on the top there, stapled it down with a gold staple, and added green and red and gold sequins for my stash. And I just love the way it turned out. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. You can also see I added a flare for my stash there by the flourish on the bottom. I'll have the links to my Instagram and Facebook in the description box below this video, as well as I would love for you to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up if you loved it, and stay tuned. I'll be back with more shares. Bye, guys.